Hello, welcome to Biztrends TV show. My name is Enyonam. This week on Biztrends, we take a dive into the media budgets that was recently presented in Parliament by the Minister of Finance, Honorable Ken Oforiatta. We want to know the stand of Copec Ghana, what they make of the budgets, their expectations, particularly with regards to their industry, what they were looking out for. We didn't hear anything with regards to that. Of course, they had a different stand on the free electricity, water, and a few other things that government was extending for Ghanaians to enjoy. They thought otherwise. We don't know why, but I'm here to have a conversation with Mr. Duncan Amoah, his Executive Secretary of Copec Ghana, to understand from his point of view what they were expecting and what they make of the media budgets. My name is Enyonam. This program is proudly brought to you by Databank, Lead Tomato Paste, NPRA, J&G Insurance Brokers. This beautiful outfit is given to me by Techie Dresses Ghana. Follow them on Instagram. I'm going for a quick break. When I come back, I'll introduce my guest to you. Stay with me, I'll be right back.
Tomato paste when I would eat. I don't want to leave tomato paste in Ghana. Ah!
Aha! This is what I call Ediane.
Secret Nanny LEAP. Leap. Someone named Leap tomato paste. It was superb and palatable taste. Na esu obiaso. There were large and small sizes for chop bars, restaurants, and enfie.
For bulk purchase, contact 033-2095-314 or 050-141085.
Welcome back from that quick break. Share your thought with us on this particular discussion. What do you make as a private sector industry player? What do you make of the media budgets? Once again, I welcome you. This is Biztrends and my name is Enyonam. Mr. Amoah, hello. This is the Corona greeting.
Well, I don't know if I could.
I'm not sure you can get close to you. Hello.
Bend my arm.
You see, so this is my first time of meeting you in person. I've always watched you on TV. Hey, who pay manso?
You live in a country where I was watching manso.
Kakra. Okay.
You can't always agree. So
right.
Sometimes when you disagree, you state your points.
Okay.
And the good thing is that we would avoid insults, but we are very firm with the bits that we also think should be done. We've been fortunate most times to have governments agree with us.
Okay.
And even when policies are rolled out and we do think otherwise, we on more often than not have government sometimes even backing down on their own policies because the rippling effect sometimes is quite bad. I mean, for a lot of people, governments would only think about that bit they call revenue. Now, what do the people
Every
also
other thing
think
doesn't really matter.
Yes, most times they just think about the intended consequences of policy.
Okay.
But for any policy to be sound, we believe that the unintended consequences would have to be very much in tune with the intended. If you have the two at opposite ends, then in the end, you may be solving one problem but creating 1,000 other problems on the other side. So. Oftentimes we will look at these policies and then we also put out what we think, and we are quite lucky that we've had governments agree with us on a number of occasions where policies have been read.
This could be the first time someone is watching this program and of course hearing of Copec Ghana. What is the mandate of Copec Ghana and who are you?
Well, when you talk of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers in Ghana, you're looking at every Ghanaian who buys petrol, industries who use petroleum, You are looking at businesses that would also need fuel to be able to get by. And we have a bit we call the petroleum triangle. So you have government and policy on one side.
Okay.
You have the industry itself, the ones you will call petroleum service providers, all the way from oil traders to BDCs to oil marketing companies, transporters, dealers, and those who provide other essential services on one side, so the PSPs on the other. And then those of us who do not have any business in there, but we depend on the two of them to give us fuel, we sit on the other end of the triangle. So that is where Copec would sit. So do not get surprised when you hear Copec taking on government, Copec taking on the industry.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, the two together would give us what we drive.
Right. You're a powerful institution.
We wouldn't say powerful yet, but of course, the prominent men who sit with us, they are powerful, so we take after them.
Right. How long have you been in existence?
Copec has been around since 2014. And
So it's been almost 6 years.
Almost 6 years now.
Right.
And we have done quite a bit within the 6-year period.
From where you sit, you know, especially with from the petroleum to the drivers union to all the other institutions that work with you, what do you make of what we have made so far of our oil revenue in the country?
One, if you ask of the oil industry in totality, there's been phenomenal progress in Ghana.
Right.
I did take a tour around the sub-region, and you would be interested to know that Ghana's standards are quite high relative to what pertains in the sub-region. Perhaps if you compare to Europe, we are still a bit to do. But if you look at the West African sub-region, we've made quite a significant progress. The level of fuel stations in Ghana, the quality and the standards they maintain, you probably wouldn't find that in the sub-region. The kind of products that we are even serving our people. Not long ago, if you recall, Copec was at the forefront asking that diesel quality should be reduced from the 3,000 parts per million sulfur to even 10 parts per million, but the National Standards Committee agreed on 50 parts per million. What that means is that the diesel that you're even using in Ghana today has lesser sulfur in there, and so it pollutes less than the 3,000 we used to have. The rest of the sub-region is still doing 3,000 and 1,500, and so if you look at those parameters, Ghana is quite improved or doing good.
Before we come to this year's media budget, would you say that you have money to put government in check?
Yes, largely on petroleum matters. There's still a lot to be done. In fact, one of the key things that we would have wished to see done is to have a capping on petroleum taxes in Ghana. That has not been done yet. So if tomorrow you become the finance minister, you could also wake up and say, look, I'm applying taxes of, 3 Ghana cedis per litre. And the law will be on your side, because that is how we've left the law.
Right.
So you look at petroleum, and it is almost always the easiest, the lowest hanging fruit for the political decision makers to make. So they apply taxes. We are saying that Parliament should take a second look at it and cap the amount of taxes. If we agree that petroleum tax as compared to the ex-refinery price shouldn't go above 40%. It means that as a finance minister, yes, you can tax or levy, but don't go beyond 40%. As it stands today, if you were to put a different person in the finance minister's seat and he says, I'm charging 1,000%, the law will be on the side, because there's really no, but we've done a lot to help governments, but we do think that there's still quite a bit to be done. Once those loopholes are sealed, Ghanaians will be a bit free.
Viewers, you're still watching Biztrends. My name is Nanny. Today, I'm having a conversation with Duncan Amoah, Executive Secretary of Copec Ghana. We are going for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about the media budget that was recently presented in Parliament by the Minister of Finance. Stay with me, I'll be right back after this.
When you've worked hard for your money, you want to make sure you're investing it with the right company. And when you need your money, it will be there for you. As Ghana's leading investment bank, Databank has been helping Ghanaians achieve financial independence since 1990. At Databank, you can purchase mutual funds, treasury bills, or shares. We're one of Ghana's leading pension and provident fund managers.
Backed by our world-class research team, Databank has a proven track record of strong performance and good corporate governance. Knowing where to invest is key. Invest wisely, invest with Databank.
Welcome back from that quick break. Follow us on all our social media platforms, Biztrends Show. Share your thought with us, what you make of this year's media budgets as an industry player. Which sector do you find yourself? Mr. Amoah, let's now focus on the media budget that was recently presented in Parliament by the Minister of Finance. Before the presentation, what were your expectations?
I believe Copec, just like most Ghanaians, had quite an enormous expectation. But then again, we were also minded by the difficulties that COVID-19 has also presented to the Ghanaian economy. So we were not looking for too much. We were hoping that there wouldn't be any new taxes on petroleum products. Fortunately, there wasn't. We were equally hoping to hear government's efforts at ensuring that the loopholes we have with petroleum revenue, fuel smuggling and all of those bits, we are making efforts to clamp on them and to ensure that the state retains a larger portion of the revenue instead of it ending in private pockets. We didn't hear much about that, although some work is ongoing currently. Again, you come to portions of the budget that deals with the energy sector specifically. We were looking to hear how much debt overall the energy sector is still saddled with. If you recall, in 2016, 2nd or 3rd of January, Ghanaians were tasked with something we call ESLA, the Energy Sector Levies Act. That saw fuel prices increasing by minimum 27% at a time.
Right.
ESLA came because of the energy sector debts that we have accumulated over time. We've been paying for that since 2016 till now. Now, it is our hope that you can't pay debt in perpetuity or forever. So we'll be told of our debt position as at now, how much has been cleared, how much is outstanding, how long we are looking at finishing. Because we do not think that ESLA is in to stay in our petroleum price bill permanently. There's a debt, ring-fence the debt, and let us all pay for it. If it is up to 5 years or 10 years, then we know that probably in the next 2-3 years, the ESLA component is going to go away altogether. We didn't hear that. To the contrary, what we rather had was more power to be given for free.
Right.
I'm sure that is one of the things that you heard us raise issue with, that we do think that the finance minister should have looked at the petroleum sector rather than the power sector if he wanted to give Ghanaians freebies or subsidies.
Do you think people would appreciate what you are suggesting instead
see,
of what government is doing?
You see, when you are dealing with the power sector and lifeline customers, you are dealing with in numbers below 200,000. If you take out a tax or regress a tax on the petrol price build-up, you are targeting 30 million Ghanaians. They would enjoy, everybody would have a direct benefit. Not long ago, we were discussing transport fares.
Yeah.
They come about largely because some of the taxes and fuel pricing and international market dynamics. So once the taxes come a bit lower, you would realize that the drivers are able to get about their day-to-day activities a bit easier.
Okay.
And then again,
Right.
those also not even into commercial transport operations, it becomes a bit easier on their pockets and they see real savings.
So what will be the next action if government does not, change what?
No, at present, government had a decision between power and petroleum.
Right.
Government went for power. We are saying that it would have been a lot reflective on 30 million Ghanaians if government had gone for petroleum. Because already the taxes are high. We've been complaining. Why we also disagreed with the finance minister on going for power. If you say 60 million or 200 million people should consume for free, because Ghana as a state does not produce the power, it's produced by your independent power producers, we have to pay them.
Majority of these debts in the energy sector, it comes from the government institutions. Most of them consume
and do not pay.
Exactly.
So government itself is not paying.
So
and yet the same government is giving you more
perhaps
subsidies.
he has a way of going about it.
You see, that is my point. But where we disagree is that if the subsidy was on petrol prices, government doesn't need to go and take money and give to anybody or doesn't owe anybody.
Right.
Government says I'm taking taxes of 800 million cedis a month on petrol, the petrol we all buy.
Right.
Now, because COVID and times being hard, I'm just going to take out 200 million off the 800 I'm taking from you.
Okay.
So that wouldn't become a debt overhang. It is government forfeiting income, right? Unlike when you are consuming free power, that government will now have to look for money from other sectors of the economy and pay to the power producers because other people are producing the power. Government says some people can consume it for free. That is going to leave a debt. And we have said, and we will repeat it, like Imani and others, anywhere you hear the word free, someone is paying.
Yes, it's not free.
It is not free.
Somebody
So,
will pay.
so others are going to consume free, but the debt overhang will be on 30 million Ghanaians.
Over the period, I have heard from afar, people call Copec names. That when this government is in power, you are in bed with this government. When the next one comes, you are in bed with. Why do you have that tag on your operations?
As a matter of fact, it is okay for an institution to be tagged. It is okay.
Okay.
It is not okay when the institution is not tagged but is rather misbehaving.
Right.
We do not misbehave. Under the former, government, we were called regime changes simply because we were always complaining. Taxes are high, fuel prices are high. To an extent, in 2016 January, our lawyers were willing to take on the government to court. The only bit the government got away was to the extent that the judicial system or the courts could not hold Parliament accountable because the ESLA had now been passed and accepted by Parliament. And so it was either we're going to sue Parliament for accepting that we should all pay this. And lawyer Ejeba would bear testament to this.
Okay.
On several occasions, we were on the Mahama administration. Reduce taxes, reduce fuel prices. It got to a point some tagged as regime changes. Then power changes hands, a new government comes. Where do we start from? Petrol prices are going up. You talk about it, they say you are from a certain political party, we laugh. And then you find somebody going to sell contaminated fuel. You talk about it, others descend on you and say you are from a political party, that's why you are making them unpopular.
Right.
But who in his right senses would want to sell bad fuel to the market for you and I to go and consume and damage our engines. You talk about that, and then it doesn't stop there. The person goes ahead to say, I'm going to go ahead and also sell your crude, right, at market -2. When at the same time, crude prices were attracting premium.
Viewers, you're still watching Biztrends. My name is Enyonam. I'm talking to Duncan, Amoah, Executive Secretary of Copec Ghana. I'm sure you know him. He's a popular, famous man. Troublesome man. Coming up is the Investment Bit brought to you by Databank and Pensions Brief, brought to you by NPRA. Take a look at those two segments. I'll be right back to continue the conversation. Stay and stay.
On the Ghana stock market or Ghana's equity market, we actually had peaked around April 2018 at a positive return of about 35%, and then the stock market started going down even before COVID-19. At that time, our explanation was that because the fixed income markets were being so attractive, most investors were moving away from the equity market onto the fixed income market. Now COVID-19 has made things probably even worse because of the anxiety, and foreign investors are also selling out. I mean, we used to have a foreign participation on our market of up to about 70%, but the current statistics are showing that that has significantly dropped to about 60%. And most of the transactions that are on our order books are sales. There's very few buying. And it just suggests that there's a lot of pressure on the stock market, and that's why it's going down. However, as we always say, buy low and sell high. So actually, this is the right time to buy, because research suggests that markets always bounce back. Unfortunately, research doesn't tell within what time frame. So that's the risk as an investor you'll be taking. But it's a risk worth taking, I can assure you that. Indeed, this phenomenon is not only affecting Ghana, and in equity markets like Mauritius and Kenya, the effect is even more pronounced, because over there, you have a lot of foreign institutions that invest heavily in their tourism and financial services markets. Actually, Mauritius' stock market has actually had to shut down completely, and it is expected to reopen after the Easter holiday. Kenya is still open, but the trades are really, really low. From highs of about $7 million, we are now really down to like $1 million or even less on the Kenya Stock Exchange. In South Africa, the story is the same. Since South Africa went into lockdown, the stock market has taken a beating. So Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, that is to say, is really, really under COVID-19. But we believe that in the future, in the very near future, the stocks will bounce back, because fundamentally, most of the companies that are listed on the markets are good companies with good governance and good prospects. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ernest Amate Vondi. I work with National Pensions Regulatory Authority as the Director of Planning and Research, Monitoring and Evaluation. This week on Pensions Brief, we'll talk about the misappropriation of pension funds. In particular, we want to know what happens to a trustee, a pension funds manager, or a pension fund custodian, or a director of any of these firms who commits the offense of misappropriation of pension funds. Now, the first responsibility of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority is to enforce every aspect of the National Pensions Act. In relation to the misappropriation of funds, the law is very specific as to what exactly must happen if such an offense is committed, and that can be found in section 195 of the National Pensions Act. And with your permission, let me read exactly what the law says. The law says that a trustee, a pension fund manager, custodian, or director who misappropriates pension funds commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine of an amount equal to 3 times the amount misappropriated, or to imprisonment for a term of not less than 10 years, or to both the fine and the imprisonment. So the law is very specific on this matter. Indeed, there are some other sanctions that the law applies if one commits this offense of misappropriation pension funds. For any further inquiries, contact the National Pensions Regulatory Authority on 0302 968692.
Welcome back from that break. Mr. Amoah, you are trying to convince me and my viewers that whatever you have taken government on private institution, government institution on, are all just costs. Is that not it?
I do not think that anybody in this country can pinpoint one issue that Copec raised or led advocacy on that we've been disgraced about. Not one.
Okay.
Earlier, we were talking about fuel prices. It took Copec and a couple of the driver unions and ICU. We went on a demonstration. We were on the streets asking government to reduce the taxes. It didn't take us a week. The Deputy Finance Minister was in Parliament, at least reducing the special petroleum tax. We doff our hats off for them. We've discussed contaminated fuel. Initially, there were denials. It hasn't gone out, blah, blah, blah. Investigations go into, and you realize 471,000 litres had already ended in a private facility. What are they going to use that for? If we didn't talk about it, Ghanaians were going to consume that. We've discussed, instances where we've had luxury vehicle levy, where every Ghanaian who drives a car of 3.0 upwards is supposed to pay a certain flat rate of 10,000 cedis to 2,000 every year. We made a case that those cars even contribute more in terms of taxes to Ghanaians. So if we are all driving a Picanto, right, government revenue would decline. If some decided that, okay, I can go for the 5.7, what it means is that whilst the Picanto is doing 1 gallon the whole day, that car will do 5 gallons. And if government is getting taxes on every gallon, then the government is even making more money from that car, yet you are penalizing them.
Right.
If people park those cars, the government will lose. Eventually, government withdraws luxury levy. We made a case strongly, if you recall.
Right, so we are wrapping up our interview, even though I need a whole 1 hour to sit down with you to talk about matters regarding petroleum industry and Copec. But then, when fuel prices was, reduced in the international market, you were on the neck of government to also do same here in Ghana to help cushion drivers and their operation. The transport fares now has come down. What led to that? What role did Copec play to ensure this happened?
You see, Copec is the voice of everybody. And so we do not take positions based on vested interest. Our positions will change based on the issue. 2-3 weeks ago, we were on the side of our drivers because we needed transport fares to go up
because of the COVID
the social
situation,
distancing. They were losing. And they come in here every now and then. If you listen to them and see the struggles they go through, somebody wakes up 4 a.m., starts working, and close 7-8 p.m. And then he's left with 14 cedis because of social distancing.
How much can you live on?
How does he go home? So they were really struggling. They had forfeited a lot of their revenue. When the time came, we, as principled as we would be, agreed that transport fares ought to go up. 2 weeks after, the president in his COVID address to the nation announces that, look, COVID is here to stay. It's not likely it's going to go anytime soon. Let me not inconvenience businesses. So pick the number of passengers you can. He fell short of giving further directives. That's okay. That's presidential. He had done what he had to do. Now, before the day would even end, some of the drivers were jubilating and saying that is going to be additional revenue for them. I said no. you would have to be fair to Ghanaians. If you were picking 3 passengers for a taxi, now the president says you can pick 4. And we had agreed that you were adding further or additional transport fares because of the 3 and the empty seats that you left unoccupied. Now, if you are picking that 4th person and going to take that revenue, then you do not need to charge the market woman or all of us
the same price.
The same price that we had added onto for you.
Right.
So please reduce transport fares. We were insulted.
So in a nutshell, Copec does not only, move with one side.
No, we don't move with one side. If they have to be fair, we'll tell them to be fair.
Okay.
And in all fairness, some of the drivers are still unhappy with us. But in truth, if Ghanaians are happy, the drivers should be happy.
Okay.
Because they are your wives, they are your sisters, your aunties. They bought the vehicles. If they had come forward to say, look, reduce the fare a bit, and you go and come back with 10% reduction, people have clapped for them. This is what is fair and just to Ghanaians. If in future your fares have to go up because of fuel prices, we'll have that discussion.
Mr. Duncan Amoah, thank you so much for receiving us in your office. Biztrends comes your way every Sunday, 5:30 in the evening. I repeat on Mondays. My name is Enyonam. Thank you to my sponsors, NPRA Databank, Lee Tomato Paste, J&G Insurance Brokers, and Biztrends Enterprise. And hey, Turkey Dresses Ghana, thank you for my beautiful outfit. Follow them on Instagram. Until then, it's a bye for now.